superheroes. I'm Pink Phoenix, coming to you from Purdue University College of Veterinary Medicine's League of Vetahumans. Today, our special guest on Vetahumans Live is Nightwolf. Thanks for being on the show, Nightwolf.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
This is awesome. To get started, can you tell us your story?
My story. So my actual name is Dr. Edris Grate. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, on the East Coast, and I grew up. Yeah, we're from the same place. Me and Pink Phoenix, where heroes are born. Grew up there, and then I went to undergrad in North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University in Greensboro, North Carolina, and then from there ended up at Purdue for vet school, where I recently graduated in May of 2021.
Cool. Tell our listeners how you decided on your superhero name.
Yeah, that was a long, difficult uh, road to get to my superhero name, but I knew one thing: I wanted to incorporate my favorite animal, which is a wolf, and then the other side of it was trying to also incorporate my favorite celestial body, which is the moon, and knowing that wolves howl at the moon, or that conjunction that's always made for them to, it made sense to incorporate night in there somewhere. And I think with me being in the position that I was in, to be able to speak up for others, especially at school, or to give a voice to others that didn't really have a voice or feel that they had a voice, it made sense to make the night into a knight, as in Kni, as in a warrior or a being um, of a physical presence, and being able to step up and speak up for those that don't feel that they can.
That is beautiful. And you embrace that name.
Thank you. I try.
Can you tell us the moment that you decided that you absolutely had to become a veterinarian?
Absolutely had to. Well, I will say there's kind of two parts to that. The absolutely had to part was when I signed over to actually go to Purdue. Was when that was the end all be all. There was no other choice. Everything my life is committed now, so I have to go through with it. But the original place of where I got the idea from to be able to get to even that portion of my life was watching Steve Irwin and Animal Planet and all those things when I was younger. And my parents would ask me all the time what I wanted to be when I grew up. And my father, one instance when my father asked, I was just finished watching Steve Irwin, and I said I wanted to be like Steve Irwin and work with animals. And he mentioned to me that if I wanted to do anything with animals, why not be a veterinarian? At that time, I had no idea what a veterinarian was. All I knew was that this guy on TV was with animals all day, every day, and he's having a blast. So I assumed that it would be something similar, and he just mentioned to me that if I can spell the word, then I could be it. So ever since then, I told people that I would be a veterinarian when I grew up, and through second intention and through God's will, that I got to where I am now.
That is excellent. How old were you when that happened, when you saw that episode?
I was about 6. Yeah, yeah.
Beautiful.
It was a long time repeating what I wanted to be. At one point in my life, that people actually started telling other people my answer without me having to say anything. So people say, "What you want to be when you grow up?" And everybody else, like, he wants to be a veterinarian. He's going to be a veterinarian. So at that point, I felt like it was just meant to be for me to get to where I am.
So, as a 6-year old watching TV, when you thought about what kind of veterinarian you wanted to be, is it the same kind of veterinarian that you are now?
Hmm. I think yes and no. In the yes sense of, I just wanted to be able to work with animals in a general sense. So just be able to interact with animals on a daily basis. So in that part, yes. I would say the no part, as in I probably originally just wanted to work with exotic animals, wildlife animals, and aquatic animals, which I can still do and which I tend to still do and get to at some point, just building my base at the moment. But um, the no in the sense of I probably at that time just wanted to be out in nature and running around like Steve Irwin was and jumping away from snakes and things of that nature, but still being respectful to them and still understanding that we're in their environment and they're not in ours. So we got to have that mutual respect type of thing. But yes and no is the answer.
Yes, mutual respect is very important.
Absolutely.
So you recently graduated, but it probably seems like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Tell us what that first year in practice has been like.
Whew, it's a whirlwind. It's a lot of learning still, but it's a good set of learning and a good opportunity for learning in the sense that um, I'm not learning everything I need to learn for 10 to 12 hours and then going home and having to follow up and study and get ready for the next set. So there's still time to wind down and time to focus on myself and focus on other things and do those things that I kind of put to the wayside for vet school, things of that nature. But this first year, it's fun. It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of learning still. And that part is the part that a lot of people don't really think about when they get into actual practice is that there's still things that you have to learn, although you have a strong base or even just a general base from vet school in general. There's still nuances and things that you have to learn, whether it's down to how your individual team works or to how what you have to do on your day-to-day basis for your individual job, all the way up to the small things of um, what type of medications that you have access to be able to use at this moment, where at school we may have had any and every type, so you can have your pick of anything and it'll work. But sometimes when you're out in the real world, you may have to go through 2 or 3 different options to get to the response or get to the treatment that you've uh, been thinking about getting to or that you need to get to. So
How do you approach all this learning? It seems like there's so many different areas. So how do you fit that into your day-to-day life?
yeah, that's a good question. Um, I think for me, the way that I do that is sometimes I've learned to write things down more. I tried to get away from writing things down because I've been taking notes for 4 plus years almost every day. So I didn't want to go ahead and write down everything. But there's some things that I still tend to write down and to jot down, even if it's a question for myself to look back on to say that what was I thinking during this time or what was going on during this time where I can do better. The next step to that is mentorship. Mentorship is important to me, and I think that is essential for any new grad. That you have somebody to bounce ideas off of, even if it's just a quick question and not a full 30 to an hour minute session of talking about things. It's just a quick call or a quick walk to their office to have a quick question and answer that question and get those ideas and thoughts run by another person and have their knowledge base given to you and such that way. Um, and I think the other thing is for me, it was always one thing to, it was always a good thing for me to have some sort of balance. I don't think we'll ever fully have a 50-50 balance in anything that we do, but when something needs 70% and another thing needs 30%, then it's making that shift to put more focus in those areas than others. So sometimes it's having to focus on my treatment plans and getting those things together, or where sometimes it may be focusing on communicating with my clients or communicating with my team, and just taking each day in each case individually and working those things down by themselves. And then at the end of the day, end of the week, or end of the month, or quarter, whatever time frame that um, you set forth or that I set forth during certain situations, I go back and try and evaluate those things and what I wrote down or what I was thinking, and see what I can improve on, and what I did well, and those type of things. So I just try to, there's multiple ways of doing it and multiple layers, but in short, it's writing down a couple of things, and some other things is just being repetitive, and then other things is just talking to someone else about it to get their insight or to get their thoughts and ideas.
I love your strategies. I especially like the self reflection and that you make time out to think about things and improve your self awareness and also get help from others. Just perfect
Absolutely.
strategies.
Thank you, thank you. It's a lot of that I did learn from being at Purdue, so I'll give some credit when credit's due there.
You've got a lot going on. And I know work days can be long, especially right now. So, how do you manage your time? Do you have a team? Do you delegate? How does that work?
Yeah, so it's very busy out here in the real world, especially for general practitioners and emergency vets. Both of us were, at least from my experience, we've been swamped and backed up. And I did also, as a sidebar, I do have a mentor that owns her own practice, and she mentioned to me that although it wouldn't be ideal to just go ahead and open up your own practice as your first year out, you still would be profitable and still make an impact there because there's so much business to be had out here. Um, but back to the original question. So yeah, it's multifactorial in the sense too that part of it is being self-aware and knowing what I can handle and the time frame of where I can handle that, or trying to give myself a general sense of that time of how what I can handle during that time. Then the next phase is being able to delegate, like you mentioned there, whether it's delegating myself or delegating with my team, um, and with the hospital in general. So having one person do this, have another person do that, having two people work on the same project to get that done quicker, or the same client, same patient, get those things done. And even for myself, I've realized that some places that the veterinarians aren't as hands-on as some people would be. So for myself, if I need to step in and do something to help out my staff, then I'll go ahead and do that. So it makes it better for all of us because I feel like my staff is the core to how much work I can get, how much work and how much business, and then how many patients we can actually help out throughout the day. So if my team feels supported, they feel more balanced and have some of that downtime and be able to reflect and be able to get through their day to day without being overly stressed from things that I can control, then I try and do that so that we all can get through these rough days. And then on the other hand, when it's time for the day to be over, my day is over. Um, the most that I've stayed over has been 30 minutes, and that's because I didn't want to push things over to the next day, not necessarily that I had to be there. So when it's time for my day to be done, I make sure it's done. And when it's time for my team's day to be done, I make sure that they're done as well. So I'm very strict on that part of making sure that everybody takes their personal time and gets their breaks and things. Very diligent with that. But in the grand scheme of things, it's just trying to make sure that everybody does something or has their part so that in the end, we're all able to come back a little more refreshed and be able to get through these tough times and rely on each other.
This is all excellent. I want to follow up a little bit. So,
Yeah.
first, to give us a frame of reference, how long is a typical work day for you? and what does that look like in a week?
Yeah. So when I first started, I was in the mentorship program, which I kind of sort of still am, but I was in a 90-day mentorship program where for 90 days I would have hour blocks for all of my cases, no matter if it was just a rabies vaccine or if it was a full workup with radiographs and things. There was an hour time so that I'd be able to get used to the flow of things in the hospital and working with the team and delegating and learning what medications and things that we have in the hospital, all that fun stuff. And then after that, transition to 30-minute blocks for my cases. And then for my day as a whole, I typically work 7 to 8 hours roughly. Most days it is seven. That's 7 hours. Um, some days I work 11 to 7. Another day I work 10 to 6, and another day, the other 2 days I work 8 to 4, including a surgery day, where surgery days can go shorter or a little longer depending on the procedures going on there. So throughout the week, I roughly work 36, 37 hours total. And then I work one Saturday a month as well, which is a half a day. Um, so it's a typical hourly time frame for a job, a day-to-day job, but 30-day appointment, 30-minute appointment times, and then one surgery day, and one day off a week. So
That's nice. That's pretty doable.
yeah, I like it a lot.
I really love how you support your team and encourage that balance for wellness. So, what are some strategies that you use to support your team and to create that work environment so everybody can bring their whole selves to work and be excited to work together and get the job done?
Yeah. So um, I think it that foundation that I built for myself at Purdue kind of helped me get to this point. Um, and I will say, when I started, I think was it my second or third year, one of those two. When I did my Mindful Monday post, I realized how um, fun and how impactful it was to give that inspiration, especially given that jolt of energy, especially on those Mondays that everybody dreads and hates. So I brought that same energy to my job. So every day I come in, good morning, how's everybody doing? How are you doing? Keeping things uplifted and light, and even throughout the day, I tend to keep the energy high, check in on people, and ask them questions about what they're doing and how they're doing, opposed to just a general sense of, well, hey, how you doing? And then leave. I actually try and listen and hear what they're saying and kind of try to feel how they're doing that day. And then even through tough situations, I try and at least keep the energy light and keep the energy up. There's some rough situations that do occur when you're out in practice, whether it's a tough surgery or tough euthanasia, things of that nature. And some people just need shoulder to cry on. Some people just need to vent. Other people just need somebody to make them smile or to show them that it is okay and things will be okay on the other end. So sometimes I just try to be what I can be for people when they need it. And then on the other side of things, when it's not as deep as that, um, when it can just be as simple as um, making sure that people go on breaks. I always ask, no matter if it's my team or another doctor's team, did you go on break today? Did you have your break? Did you eat something? Are you hungry? Do you need me to do something? Can I pick up something so that you can go and at least use the bathroom, get some water, something of that sort? Because everybody's a human, no matter their stage, whether they're the vet assistant, the receptionist, or the veterinarian, the medical director, or hospital director. No matter what stage, we're all humans. So we all need our basic necessities of eating, drinking, and getting some rest. So if especially when I know myself enough to know that I can take on some of that extra for people, especially if they're not capable of always doing that. I will definitely take that on for people, and um, in turn, that also shows people how much you care about them, and shows people how much they can rely on you and be able to depend on you for things. So, and that you have their back, and they're able to uh, even come to you for certain things where it can be that I need to take a break, and they'll know that you're not just not gonna be like, no, you don't need a break. Let's get back to going to work. Is, oh, you need a break? Perfect. What were you doing? Okay, I'll go and get that done, or I go and we'll try and delegate so we can get those things done so you can take a break. So it's a lot of meeting people where they are and trying to remember that we're all humans, and no matter how much information I have in my head, the and in comparison to someone else, there's still that the basic needs that we all have and require. So
I love it. You are a beautiful human being.
I try to be.
I really like how you expressed it. Try to feel how others are feeling. Okay, let's talk finances.
Oh boy.
That college is expensive.
Tell me about it.
Now you're just starting out. You got your first job. What strategies are you using to build your financial health?
Yeah, there's a couple here. Yeah, vet college and vet school in general was not the cheapest thing that I ever purchased.
But worth it.
But worth it, absolutely. It was definitely an investment. So there's multiple things. I think for me, a lot of in general, what I do is I try to get multiple ideas and multiple thoughts on the same topic in the same situation. So I'll talk to different people, whether it's an actual veterinarian or it's a veterinarian that's a diplomat, or a veterinarian that's boarded somewhere where they're going to have that extra insight and have those extra loans, but also have that extra income as well. Or whether it's someone just like me that just graduated, somebody that graduated where they may have paid a eighth of what I paid for vet school in total, and they have an idea of how things and finances work. And then there's people outside of vet med that can give insight as well. So I try to talk to multiple people. Um, I also started to learn about investing and buying in the stock market and things of that nature. Some of that we did touch on while we were in vet school. So I picked up more information on that outside of vet school and talk to people about that, life insurances, things of that nature as well, and then just budgeting in the short sense of making sure that whatever money I'm coming in, bringing in on a bi-weekly basis, make sure that at least every most of the dollars have something that they're doing in the plan for the future, and not just what I'm doing now, and not just student loans, but in general, what I want to do in my life, what I want to do, where I want to be in 10, 15, 20, 70 years from now type of thing. So I'm breaking down how much that I have and how much I'm working with and how much I'm spending, and trying to make it as balanced as possible, but also knowing that I've been in school for 22 years. So that now that I'm in the real world, I can spend some, and I have some money to spend. I can spend some money and do some things that I would want to do. So making sure that I focus on those things as a baseline. So that's kind of how I approach the finances. Not too heavy in where I have to pay off my loans as soon as possible. Hopefully, those student loans will get forgiven, so I don't have to worry about it soon. But you never know. So you have to prepare for all opportunities in all situations there, but making sure I also still am enjoying life and I'm not miserable out here.
Yeah, it's a good feeling having some money to spend, isn't
Oh,
it?
absolutely, absolutely, and not just twice a year.
And it takes a while to get used to.
Yes, yes, it does. I'm still getting used to it.
What did you think being a veterinarian would be like compared to what it's really like?
I think for me, the way that I approached vet med in general and going to vet school and the profession, I've always kept an open mind about things. So I never really had a full expectation of what my career would be like. The only thing that I really 100% say that my career should be like as a veterinarian is being able to work with the animals and getting them from um, having this concern or this problem and the other side of no longer having that concern or problem, or going from good to bad, bad to good, or good to better type of thing. So just helping with the animals in general, but then going through school learning how closely we interact with the everyday individual and the human that's attached to the animal, that human animal bond, learning that the humans are probably a little more important than the actual animal in these instances where if we're helping the animal, we're helping the human as well. And if we're helping the human, we're helping the animal as well. So using juggling those things helps me to realize what actually vet med is, and it's a lot of human based medicine to help the actual animal. So we have the minds, we have the mental capacity and the learning to actually help the animal, but we have to help the human that's attached to them as well. So I think that may be one of the not the shocking things, but one of the things that was reinforced being in practice is that the actual human that's attached to these animals are a lot more important than one would expect when getting into the profession or thinking about coming into the profession. Well, especially in general practice, since maybe in other portions of that med may not be as important, but there's still a human attached to some animal at some point in time. So the human aspect of things is definitely a lot more important than I think I originally planned to. But for me, that was um, something that I enjoy. That's something that I enjoy and that I don't shy away from. So it's not necessarily too big of an issue or a concern for me, but it is something that was a little bit a little different coming from just wanting to say I want to work with animals to being on this side of things where the animals are attached to a human. So we got to make sure that the human is understanding, the human is okay, that the human has some sort of baseline to be able to help this animal here. So,
Absolutely, it's so important. I want to hear about your best day ever as a vet so far.
whew, best day ever as a vet. Best day ever. So I'll say there's multiple. Best days in general are those days where I come into work and well, I'll share this story. We had a team meeting about some new developments and new things that we were gonna do and that we're working on. And part of the team meeting was team building exercises, and um, one of the nurses mentioned that I and one of our lead receptionists and vet assistants were two individuals that were pointed out for um, if the question was asked, is there something or someone here that you wish you could embody what they do or how they do things or carry themselves? And me and the vet assistant receptionists were pointed out as being the individuals that if I could wake up in the morning and carry that energy into the workday and have that much fun coming into work, then I would definitely do that. But I can't. That's what what was mentioned. So for me, it was cool to be recognized for that because I just felt like coming in day to day basis, just saying good morning, how you doing, and having a smile on my face and bringing that good energy into the building was just the regular thing for me. But then having it pointed out like that and having someone that wants to that thoroughly enjoys having that and basically said that they needed that on a daily basis brought um, an extra feeling of responsibility for me and made me feel very good about what I do and how I carry things, even just to start the day before we even get to the medicine, before we even get to helping the clients and the pets and all those things. And that it was one of my team members made it even better. Um, so in those type of things,
I'm
on
missing
the
you
good
even
days.
more because I do miss that. Seeing you in the morning, you would pop in,
Just
always
making sure
bringing the
everybody is
energy.
doing good, you know. If you're feeling good and looking good, you're going to do good, and then it's going to transfer over to everything being good, and that's going to spill over. So, with that philosophy and that mindset, I have to make sure that at least somebody is looking good and feeling good in that moment in time, and it's not just me, because I'm going to always be there and show up with that. So somebody else has to join me with that. So even if it's when they go home and they talk to their children or talk to their significant others or things, or even their friends, they can take that energy and make somebody else's life even better. So those are those good days is when I could come in and see that people are dragging around that morning, maybe a rough morning, a groggy Monday morning, and then I come in like it's sunshine and cupcakes and without any coffee or anything, just coming in with that energy. Let's go, everybody, wake up, let's sing a song and let's get the day started and get this energy going. And then seeing how people perk up throughout the day and they're waiting for me to come in to bring that energy at work. Those are my best days there. And then there was another day that was very significant for me where I had an African American client that was in the room. And when I walked in and introduced myself as a doctor, they were like, "Oh, you're the doctor?" And the shock would for some people would throw them off, but that shock for me, I could tell was a shock of, wow, I feel comfortable being here and talking to you. So I could see how their body position went from I'm stressed about my animal to, okay, well, at least I can talk to this person and to open up. And from there on, that 30-minute appointment went a little bit longer because they decided to share every little thing. But for me, that was a good thing that to be able to represent the profession in that way. And especially coming from the background of being in voice and trying to help with diversity and inclusion on the school side to be able to show that and embody that and be that now for clients and meet the population where the population is. Those are definitely good days where I can see and tell that maybe if it was somebody else that would have came in, they would have got the information that they shared with me, or they wouldn't have been able to um, help as much because of the openness and the comfort level that they already share with me, just because we share the similar background and the similar culture there. So that was those type of days were definitely some very good days and made me even give me some more of that energy. So I took that energy right back to my clients and my team, and it picked up even more from there. But those two type of instances are my best days. And then I'll give a third of a best day of um, when you go from not really having a full, well, some sort of imposter syndrome there, and not knowing if you're doing what you're supposed to do, or if you're able to uh, do the job properly, and be able to go to work and make and do things that you think you should do, but not knowing if you're actually doing it properly and doing it right, or not sure if you're supposed to be here, but then seeing how you can go from that. And then one thing, one surgery that went spotless and carefree, or one patient that came in and the owner's thinking that they're one step away from euthanasia, but then on the other end, they're back up and they're a, a 8-year-old dog that's acting like they're 3 again, because of the treatment plan that you've placed and instituted with them. Those type of things where um, actually when actually helping those pets and those clients go from bad to good on in those instances are definitely very good days, and getting that reinforcement from mentors and other veterinarians in the hospital like, oh, I didn't know that you could do that, or oh, that was new that you did it that way, to be able to get to the result that we all want to get to there. So those type of days are those are my top 3 days that I've had so far.
This is great. So many good days. The best job ever.
Absolutely, absolutely, and there's only more.
And you've given all our listeners a mission. I think we all need to embody Night Wolf and
Absolutely,
brighten somebody's day today.
absolutely. Smile, wave, even just saying hi can brighten somebody's day.
So, how do you brighten your own day? What do you do for fun?
Yeah, brighten my own day. So every morning I start my day with walking my dog, which can be looked as a chore to some people, but I've learned something from people that I follow and watch on social media and things of that nature. And even one of my favorite artists at this time. But they embody gratitude over the past couple of years. So I'm trying to be more gracious with my what I have, and the position that I'm in. So even being able to wake up in the morning to walk my dog is that I'm gracious to be able to wake up this morning and being able to care for an animal and have a dog, and that he's able to get up every morning and to walk and to use the bathroom and all those type of things, just the small things, and being outside and being able to smell the fresh air and to be in the world and being able to walk. Those small things of gratitude have compounded, um, to make that 1 30 seconds good, to be able to build up throughout the day to make the whole day great, because every little thing is something that I'm trying to be gracious for. Um, and then outside of that, it's coming back home, sharing, spending time with my friends and my girlfriend and my dog there, and then going out to eat, trying new things, other things like going to the gym. Um, what else do I do for fun? Have to work out because sled club is still, you still have to embody sled club. I still wear my sweatshirt. Absolutely. Still have the sled in my trunk. So whenever I need to go ahead and pull something, I just pop the trunk and I get the going. Um, so
Walk through walls.
absolutely, we walk through walls. So those things are kind of the baseline there, but I always like trying new things. And now that I have a little bit of money, try and go on vacations and things of that nature, or at least going to see other places now that I'm in a new state as a whole, that I haven't really been able to experience. This is a ginormous state in Michigan here, that I didn't realize how big it is, and I didn't realize how vast of things there are here, especially nature things. So I'm going to different places around the state, whether it's just a weekend trip or a day trip, and trying those new things are interesting and fun for me. So
Yeah, you always make the most of life.
you have to.
So while you were here in Indiana, you were somewhat of a local superhero.
Wow.
I know you inspired quite a number of kids around here to be veterinarians.
Some of my friends, my best friends.
And they miss you.
I miss them too.
Do you plan to continue that and work with kids where you are?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's one of those things that I'm working up to. I also want to make sure that I have a solid foundation in my day-to-day job first, but absolutely getting into community engagement and getting back to being with those kids and uh, having to teach them things, and even just talking to them and seeing them on a day-to-day basis. And whether it's the one kid that wants to talk about the Ravens all the time and try to bag on the Ravens, although we're here for vet med, those type of things are which helped me get through vet med and get through vet school. Those type of things, I definitely want to get back to.
We got them all wearing purple now.
Perfect. That's what I like to hear. Ravens Nation.
Yes. Be more.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely want to do that and do those things. My sister was up here a couple of years ago while I was in vet school, before she moved back home, and she worked at a Boys and Girls Club. And she had me come in and talk to the kids one day. So there's already a small relationship there that I can always pick up on if I need to, or when the time is right. But definitely, I have to. It's an obligation, um, and it's a need out there for it, and I feel a personal responsibility for it. But it's a personal responsibility that I put onto myself and that I want to have and I want to take on. So it's coming soon.
And we need people like you out there inspiring everybody.
Absolutely, Knife Wolf to the rescue.
So, on that note, before we sign off, what inspirational message do you have for our aspiring veterinarians out there?
Let's generalize it. What's a big general one for all the humans out there that need to awaken their vetahuman gene? Let's do, I will say in general, before we get to all the small nuances, because each individual is different and the inspiration that they need is a little different. Um, so I think in general, it's don't stop, never stop, no matter what anybody says, no matter what it feels like, um, no matter the situation. If it feels like you can't get through it, you can get through it. I've gotten through it. I've had classmates that've gotten through it. I've seen people ahead of me and behind me that have gotten through and that are going through it now. Do not stop. Keep going, one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door. I think that's how the song goes. Um, but do not stop. I'll tell a story about myself where there was a point in my junior year where I got D, it was a D in organic chemistry, and I was like, I mean, I've toured at vet hospitals and worked at a couple, and I didn't like the way that the veterinarian was working there. So um, I'll be fine just being a zookeeper or the veterinary nurse, or doing wildlife type of things, being with the animals, but not having to do the medicine part. But then one of my, at the time, my mentor and my advisor sent me to Tuskegee for their summer program. And there I was rejuvenated to come back into the profession and to realize that although that was a small hiccup or a hurdle that I had to go through, or a wall that was there, I had to walk through that wall, and I had to jump over that hurdle. And although I needed some support there, maybe a rope, or maybe it was somebody that tapped on the wall a little bit so I can walk through it, I was still able to get through that wall, and I wasn't deterred fully from vet med, where I've seen individuals that were deterred from vet med, whereas maybe a small thing of something going on in their lives, or something as if or organic chemistry or something like that, which is a huge hurdle. Physics as well, but never stop, keep going, and tell somebody your dream, and it'll keep saying it every day, all day. Tell any and everybody, and it'll come to you. What you put out there will come back to you. So keep going, never stop. It's a long road, but you will get there and you will get through it. If this is what you want, you can definitely have it. And it's for any and everybody.
Absolutely. Manifest it and always forward.
Absolutely. Always forward and walk through all those walls.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Nightwolf.
It's my pleasure. We'll do this again sometime. I'll be back.
We will. Every few years, you're going to be a guest.
Oh, that'll work. That'll work.
You can follow the stream.
I love it.
You can learn about other League of Vetahumans superheroes at vetahumans.org. If you like this episode, please subscribe, rate, and share it with your friends. And remember, use your powers for good.